Nikki, can you please tell me exactly what is a thought leader?
Well, the best way to describe a thought leader is by drawing a distinction between an expert and a thought leader. So the great Matt Church once said, an expert is someone who knows something, but experts are invisible, and they're a dime a dozen, while a thought leader is someone who's known for knowing something. Thought leaders are rare and valuable. Another way to put it is that an expert is like a cover band, while a thought leader plays original music. A thought leader is somebody who is valued by the marketplace for their ability to understand their problems and to solve them decisively.
Well, wow, because I don't think I really heard that term until I saw it related to you. So thank you so much for explaining to me exactly what a thought leader is. And audience, I want to welcome you to Bartelle's Money Talk. And if you want to add money to your income, I suggest that you stay here because Nikki is going to give us some ways to add some income to our current income in 2026. So, Nikki, can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Absolutely. Teresa, thanks for having me on the show. And you share a name with my beloved, who also spells her name the way you spell it with an H. So there you
Uh-huh.
go.
Good.
Um, and I'm originally an immigrant from the Middle East. I'm a Christian from Iran. When I was 11 years old, the Islamic Revolution took place, and the moderate, progressive, pro-Western government of the Shah was overthrown by a theocratic, repressive, totalitarian tyranny of the mullahs. There were literally gun battles going on in the streets near my home, and my mom and dad were starting to freak out. One day, their freak out factor went up 1,000-fold when there was a crash through our living room window, and
Wow.
an object sailed through while glass shards went everywhere. Now I'm 11.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It was some sort of bottle
Mm-hmm.
full of some sort of liquid. And additionally, there was this cloth rag in it that was burning.
Oh.
It was a Molotov cocktail. My father, God rest his soul, knew exactly what it was. He picked it up, he grabbed it, and he pulled out the burning rag. And it didn't explode, which is the only reason why I'm here talking to you. And that was the point where my mom and dad made a decision that they were going to take me and my two brothers out of Iran because this wasn't going to be a place to raise a Christian family. They took us out of Iran, first to Greece, and then to Canada. The whole process took about 4 years.
Wow.
Now, you got to understand, I was a kid. I didn't want to leave my home or my friends. Maybe you can relate.
Yes, I
But
can.
as time went on, I started to see what an unbelievably noble sacrifice my mom and dad had made. They took us from a legacy of tyranny and brought us to a legacy of freedom. And I believe inside every human breast beats the living heart of freedom. Every man and woman on this earth yearns to breathe free, to chart their own course, to march to the tune of their own drummer.
Right.
And I knew that I valued this freedom. And my father was someone who understood this. And my father was the greatest man I've ever known, Teresa. If you met him, you would love him. Because if you were a friend of his and you were looking for work in Iran in the 60s or 70s, my dad
Mm-hmm.
would sit you down. He would listen to you and he would call all his friends who owned companies or were high officials in government, and he would ethically manipulate them till one of them gave you a job. If you were
Wow.
trying to start a business, he would sit you down, listen to you and your ideas, and then give you his best advice, connect you with sources of capital, and find you potential customers. And if you were his friend and you were trying to buy a car or a house and the bank wouldn't quite give you enough money,
Mhm.
which happened in a second world country like Iran back then. You'd need to
Mhm.
go to your private sources to get the rest. People would come to him and you'd go to him and you'd say, Mr. Napoleon, his name was Napoleon,
Uh-huh.
named after the great French uh, emperor.
Mhm.
I said, I need 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 to buy this car, this house, this apartment. And if you were his friend, he'd say, sure. He'd give you the money. And then you'd go and buy that car, that house, that apartment. And then 1, 2, 3 years would go by and you would save up your money to come pay him back. And you'd come and
Mhm.
make an appointment and see him. And you'd go, here you go.
Mhm.
And he'd go, what's
Uh-huh.
this? And you'd say, well, it's the money I owe you. You don't owe me any money. What do you mean? Like, no, I borrowed this money from you. He said, oh, no, that wasn't a loan. It was a gift. And
Wow.
you'd go, what? No, it's too much. This is an Iranian thing. It's called tarof. It's a little dance. And then he would
Mhm.
finally go, okay, don't insult me. Go, okay, what do I do with this money? And he'd say
Mhm.
to you, go find someone who is as badly off now as you were when you first came to see me and asked for this money. And people to me come to me all the time and they go, Nicky, come on. Who
Right.
does this? Come on, this is a joke, right? This isn't real. Nobody actually does
Right.
this.
Right.
And I said to them, actually, yes, in Iran, people do this, especially in that time.
Mhm.
And they go, no. Why would anybody do this? Like cynical, right? And I'd go, well, I can tell you why my dad did it. First of all, he did it because he was a devout and committed follower of Jesus. Now, dad didn't take himself all that seriously, but he took
Mhm.
his faith very
Very
seriously.
serious.
He
Mhm.
believed in his
Mhm.
core that he'd been blessed by his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ and God Almighty. And it was his duty to share those blessings with his fellow man and woman. Duty.
That's wonderful.
And secondly, he did it because, well, he could. He had the money. He was rich and successful. And I wanted to be like my dad.
Mhm.
I wanted to be somebody who helped people, who people looked up to. I wanted to be somebody who mattered in this world and in this community. And my father would talk to me and teach me. He would tell me, son, life is about people, not about money. He'd even tell me, son, life business is about people and not money. And I would be like a smart aleck kid going, Dad, what are you talking about?
Mhm.
What are you talking about, Dad? Without money, you can't do no business. He said, son, true. But without people, you can't do any business either because all business is solving problems for people for a profit.
That's right.
Imagine a Venn diagram, one circle, two circles, three circles, people, problems, profit.
Mhm.
And he said to me, son, that woman sitting in front of you, she's someone's daughter, she's someone's sister, she's someone's wife, she's someone's mother. She's a hero to somebody.
That's
She's
right.
got hopes, she's got dreams, she's got fears. And maybe someone just like you let her down in life or in business. It's your job, son, to restore her faith in humanity. And that's my dad. And he said to me, everyone needs someone to believe in them, believe in
Mhm.
people, because that little spark of belief can turn into a roaring fire and they're off into the races. So I got into the work that I got into because of my father, because I wanted to be like him. I wanted to help people. And in particular, I wanted to help people like him who are entrepreneurs. And
Well,
that's
that is
why
such
I got into my work
Mhm.
field.
That is a great and powerful story that your father left such a
Thank you.
powerful legacy to you. I consider that a blessing beyond
Thank you so much.
imagination. So, because of your dad, can you tell the listeners what you currently do?
Well, what I do really is I help entrepreneurs succeed, because a lot of people, especially the creator type entrepreneurs, the ones who offer their services, their heart, their soul to people,
Mhm.
right? I'm talking like coaches, consultants, advisors, speakers, authors, um, all the people who really put their heart and soul to be of service. Many of them are really good at the thing that they do. You know what I mean, Teresa?
Yes.
They're really good at that. But you know what they're
Mm-hmm.
not so good at or confident in? Business, making money, selling,
Mm-hmm.
marketing, branding. Why? Well, they don't have a background in it. And there's this narrative in the world that especially sales is dirty. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Sales is
Mm-hmm.
bad, is dirty, is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be one of those pushy people, those
That's
people
right.
reeking of commission breath when they walk in the room, their commission breath comes in ahead of them. Not me.
Uh-huh.
And because of this, they don't effectively go after business they should go after. So what happens, Teresa? The sum total of goodness in the world goes down because they don't get the business they should get, so that hurts them. The client doesn't get a good person helping them, and some charlatan marketer, some unscrupulous person who doesn't care will come and scoop the business, and if they deliver, it's a happy accident because they sure as heck didn't care about delivering,
That's right.
right? And that's why the sum total of goodness in the world goes down. So my dad was an entrepreneur. I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. I studied business and entrepreneurship in school. Like it's in my DNA and blood. I understand business, and I don't have those hangups about business, about sales, about
Mm-hmm.
money. In fact, I teach people that sales is not a bad thing, and I teach them even to reframe it. If they don't like the word sales, reframe it to service. Because Teresa, no one wants to be sold, right? You don't want to be sold. I don't want to be sold,
That's right.
right? But don't you love being served by a caring person?
Oh,
Don't you
yes.
love it? And don't
Mm-hmm.
you want to give them your money? Don't you want to like give them your money because they are so good, they deserve it? You're like, yeah, yeah, I'm buying from you. Nobody else, everybody go away. And you bring all your friends. No, no, you do
Yeah.
business with us, but this is a good person, right?
Yes.
You know people like
Mm-hmm.
that, like the hairstylist, the mechanic, the owner of the laundromat. There's
That's
people
right.
like that in your world that you go out of your way to do business with because you know they're good people
Because
and
they're
they
good.
care and they serve, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I teach good people in business just from reframing service, sales into service, how to double, triple, quadruple, tenfold their income.
And that's what a lot of people need now, especially with inflation. And so, leaning into what you said, how do thought leaders, how do they find their people? Like, what do they need to do so that they find the correct people? Because that's a big deal, also, is finding your people.
Great question. Um, Let me tell you a couple of stories. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a woman who got introduced to me um, about, God, 7 years ago. Time flies.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
She was a naturopathic doctor, right?
okay.
Doctor of natural medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And she had an unbelievable story. She was successful, but she'd gone through some ups and some downs, and she was trying to just get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met her, she was making six figures a year, but she wanted to do better. She wanted to do a lot better because you see, um, her why was really big. Her why was her father, and her father was dying of glioblastoma brain cancer.
Oh, wow.
And she was daddy's little girl,
Mm,
even when she was 50, you know. And her dad was a successful entrepreneur, and she could not do anything to save his life because it was too far gone. But she
right.
wanted to honor his memory by becoming a successful entrepreneur just like him. And while we started working with her, her father passed away. So we went to his wake. It was very sad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So I sat with her and I asked her, so I said, tell me, who do you work with and what do you do for them? She says, well, I'm in the health field and I work with just about anybody who has a health and fitness problem or well-being problem. And I can fix it. And I go, that's not going to work. I said, I want you to go through this little exercise. So I created this little model called the ideal client model.
Oh, wow.
So I said to her, make a list of everybody you've worked with that you got really the best results for. Then make a list of everybody you work with who you really enjoyed working with the most. And then make a list of everybody you worked with who was easy to do business with, i.e., they paid you on time, in full, gave you lots of referrals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she made all those lists. I go, who's on all three lists? That's your ideal client, right? And we found out for her, it was professional women, married with children, with good marriages, good families, good careers, over the age of 45, kind of 45
Wow.
to 65 type of thing. And I go, all right, these ladies sound like life is pretty great. Why do they need you? She said, well, there's one thing that isn't so great. I said, okay, what is it? She said, well, they don't feel young and beautiful and desirable anymore. And it's really bothering them. Now, Teresa, I'm a man and I don't pretend to understand women.
We're not
I know there's men who
easy.
do, but I'm not one of them.
Uh-huh.
But I've heard somewhere once before that women like to feel young and beautiful and desirable. Is this true?
For me, that's very true. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, anyways, I said, okay, so what do you do for these ladies who feel this way? She says, well, Nicky, the good news is that, getting older is inevitable, right? Every year the number goes up.
Every
You are
year.
not going to be 45 in 2026 and be
Mm,
43 in 2027, right?
correct.
It's just
That's
not
right.
how it goes, right?
Mm-mm.
However, aging is not inevitable, and you can actually reverse aging. I'm like, come again? She said, you can be just as beautiful and desirable and vital in your 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s as you were in your 20s, 30s, and 40s. And I said, really? She said,
Yeah,
well, yeah,
really.
really. I said, you can prove this? She said, yep. I said, all right, very good. And I said, let's come up with a nice name for your program. She says, okay. So we called the program Get Your Sexy Back. Uh, anyways, long story short is it was a good message because in her first year, she doubled her income. In her second year, she doubled it again. And in her third year with us, she doubled it again. She went from 6 figures a year to 6 figures a month.
Oh, wow.
And that is because she was seen as the thought leader who knew how to help professional married women with good marriages and good careers over the age of 45 how to reverse their age and feel young, desirable, and beautiful all over again.
So, based on what you're saying, if we have an entrepreneur here that's listening to what you're saying and they are having trouble finding their ideal client, it sounds like to me like they need to follow the steps that you have, but also you need to narrow it down and you need to title it well to meet their needs. I mean, based on what you're saying. So if we have an entrepreneur that could be listening now and they are struggling getting clients, what
Yeah.
advice can you offer to them?
Well, honestly, um, follow me on social media, watch me on podcasts, read my posts, watch my videos. I've got my own podcast. I got a bunch of books I've written about the subject. That's a start.
Okay, that's a great start.
Yeah. And once you've done all that, try and implement it. And if you find you need more help than that, then get on my calendar and tell me, hey, um, I need help. And I'll give you 45 minutes of my time for free to map out a plan for you. And if you still need help, I got programs you can sign up for that'll show you how to do this, and we'll lock arms with you step by step. And our programs, I'll be candid, are high ticket, right? They're not cheap. My podcasts are free, my books are low ticket.
Mm-hmm.
So I recommend you start there if money's an issue. But if you're at a stage where you're really ready to do something about it and you're ready to invest in yourself and your business, come see us, because what makes us unique is we we kind of like really get you in action, and that's really what everybody needs to do: get in action and do the right
Mm-hmm.
things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we do for people. We get you to do what you got to do to actually get sales, and we lock
That's
arms
good.
with you. And there's a lot of programs I've been in where you sign up and they basically forget about you once they got your money. That's not how we roll. We you
That's
come,
true.
you spend time with us every week on a group call. You got one-on-one calls. There's a couple clients of ours that have been struggling, not anymore, but they were for a little while. And I had a coaching call with them every day for 2 months, every day to
Because you
push them.
want to see people win. And then too,
Yeah,
what I want the listeners, or if there's an entrepreneur listening, because what you're doing, your heart is in it, and you're on a mission to help entrepreneurs. And because the foundation is based off, you want to be a blessing the way that your father was a blessing. So
amen,
I want to encourage any entrepreneur that's listening. And if you're at the point to where you feel like you're giving up, you can't get clients, please reach out to Nicky. And before we end our video, we're going to give you his contact information, because maybe it's your messaging. Maybe you're not trying to reach the right person. So that's why Nicky is here, because we are here to help you make money and not give up and throw in the towel. And so, like you say, a lot of people, you have your heart to do it, but because you don't know the business part, you fail. But because you're here and you have this message and you have the heart to help people, if you are listening to this podcast now, I just totally believe, don't think that it was by accident. Maybe this is God opening a door for you to get help where you don't have to throw in the towel and you can help somebody else. And so, Nicky, I'm so glad that you're here and you're letting people know, entrepreneurs, that there is hope, because being an entrepreneur is not an easy task. And so you might be in it for the money, but if you don't have the heart to do it, it's going to be hard to stick with it. You really need a heart to do it. And so, Nicky, the one last thing that I would like to ask you, why do you think people stay in their comfort zone based on what you've seen and the people that you've worked with?
that's a really good question. There was a time in human history where you didn't really have a choice. If you stayed in your comfort zone, you died, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're in a time, especially in the West, in America,
Mm-hmm.
Canada, and the Western civilization, where you won't die if you stay in your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's a whole cultural narrative: take it easy,
Yes.
go for convenience. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just conditioned people to believe that is the right way to live. But most people, even when they're doing it, know there's something off about all that.
Mm-hmm.
But the messaging continues to go in because that's what the world's telling you. Have you seen the movie The Matrix that was made 20, 25 years ago with Keanu Reeves? They're kind of
Mm-hmm.
living in the Matrix, Teresa.
Mm.
they're being fed a line of crap, right?
Right.
And even though it's crap, they're being told it's a nice juicy cowboy rib steak. And it's not a
Mhm.
cowboy rib steak, it's a line of crap.
Right.
And
Mhm.
as long as you keep eating that line of crap,
Mhm.
you're going to stay stuck in your comfort zone. The
Wow.
only way it'll ever really change is if you start to understand that you're living in the matrix and you reject the matrix and step out of the matrix and go, I no longer seek to live in my comfort zone. I seek to live the life that I was intended to live by God Almighty.
That's right. I agree. I agree. And then I don't know if you can speak on this, but I'm sure you probably can talk about it a little bit. But last week, like this is maybe for someone who is working a 9 to 5 and they're thinking about launching out and starting a business. And I can't remember the term exactly what they used. I should have written it down. But Nikki, what they are saying is that people is are staying in their jobs because of the way the economy is, and they are afraid to go after a new job because of layoffs, which is, I mean, it's logical to think if you leave a job that you've been at for a while, if you go to a new job, you're going to be the first one to get let go. But even if you stay where you are, you don't really know what's going on in the background.
You
So, can
know,
you talk a little bit about that? I mean, they're saying it's like becoming like a national, global thing where people are not leaving their positions due to fear of being laid off.
well, um, that's an interesting point. Personally, this whole concept of you have a job and a job is quote unquote safe
Mm,
is crazy
it is.
because they don't, most companies don't think of you as a member of their family. They will let you go first chance they get. They just will. There are some companies that are that way and they go out of their way not to fire people and whatnot, but that's not most companies. Not
Oh
today.
no. Mm-mm.
Not today. And the best way for you to have quote unquote security is to really understand that there's no such thing as conventional security. And if you take your life, your work into your own hands, then you could have security. But if you are relying on a job from someone else, you have no security. You're working at their pleasure and their mercy. They
Wow,
can
that's a
and they will take action to defend their own interests. And your interests are really not part of their decision making matrix.
hmm, that's
So,
pretty
the
smart.
best thing you can do is become so valuable that they can't let go of you, or even better, start your own thing. 9 to 5. Look, if that's for you, we need people to have jobs too. There's no question about it. But if you know
Mhm.
and that's not for you, take a step and start something. Maybe you do it on the side until you get it going, but do it.
I really like that, Nikki. So before we end our conversation of all this wealthful knowledge, can you leave the listeners maybe one or two nuggets that they can take from you? Something that you can tell them that can help them.
Go watch the movie The Matrix.
Yeah, because it's an old movie, long ago.
Yeah, but go watch it. Go get a copy. And if you're in a 9 to 5, I wrote this book for you called The Thought Leader's Journey, and it's about how to break out of the matrix of the 9 to 5. So go pick that up. Those are my two nuggets.
Wow. Can you show that book one more time? Because a lot of people might be need that book.
Sure, it's called The Thought Leader's Journey. It's on Amazon.
Okay. And the purpose behind that book is?
Helping people in a 9 to 5 break out and start their own thing.
Wonderful, wonderful. So now, Nikki, tell everyone where is the best place for them to find you?
Well, I'm the only Nicky Billou on planet Earth. So
Wonderful.
if you go on any social media platform and you type in my name, NickYBillou, you can find me there. That's a good way to just say, hey, I heard you on the podcast, and I'll accept your connection or whatever. And go check me out on this podcast, on tons of other. I've been on over 1,000 podcasts as a guest, so you can find me on a bunch of podcasts. I also have my own podcast, and if you're a business owner who wants to have a conversation, way to do that is just to book time with me, which you go to my website, ecircleacademy.com/appointment, and tell me why you want to talk. Tell me you came from the podcast. Fill out the application form, and I'll set up a time and have a conversation with you to help you think through some of the things that are blocking you from the success that you really want and deserve.
Well, Nikki, that sounds good. All right, my entrepreneurs. If you need help with finding that ideal client, if you need help with your messaging, and if you want to add $30,000, $20,000, $100,000 to your income, please look Nikki up on social media. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on our next video.